Okay.
Hey there, welcome to Movie Recap Universe. Today we're going to recap the 2023 action thriller movie, Wrath of Man. Let's begin the story. The movie kicks off with two security guards from Fortico, an armored truck company that transports cash. While they're on a routine job, a cement truck suddenly blocks their path. Moments later, armed robbers jump out, forcing the guards to exit their vehicle as they begin loading the truck with money bags. An intense shooting happens at the scene, leaving things pretty bad. Fast forward 3 months, and we meet Patrick Hill, a new recruit at Fortico, brought in to replace the men who died in the robbery. Terry, the manager, explains the gravity of the situation to Patrick, but before he can start, Patrick needs to pass a firearms test. With some help from his trainer, Bullet, he just barely passes, earning himself the nickname H. After his first day on the job, H meets some of his new co-workers, including Hollow Bob, who seems as lifeless as his nickname, and Boy Sweat Dave. They head out for their first cash drop, and to everyone's relief, it all goes off without a hitch. Easy day, no drama. But the next day, not so easy. H and Dave are out again when armed robbers take Bullet hostage and force them to stop. They demand that H load up their pickup truck with cash, but H, staying cool under pressure, accidentally drops one of the bags.
Get in the truck next time, you fucknut!
Sorry, pal.
From there, he takes down the rest of the gang with deadly accuracy. Not one shot missed. H even chases down the last robber through a nearby building and finishes the job. Back at the office, Terry isn't too happy with H's solo takedown and puts him on desk duty for a month. But Blake Halls, the company's CEO, sees things differently and thinks H deserves a promotion. Soon after, H is asked to review footage from the earlier robbery to see if he recognizes any of the robbers, and although one face stands out to him, he says nothing.
Any connection, Mr. Hill?
No.
Meanwhile, two FBI agents, who are secretly working for someone named King, are keeping a close eye on H, hoping he'll lead them to the crew behind the first heist. The next day, H is the hero of the office. The other guards applaud him for his takedown, and though he's not exactly basking in the glory, he thanks them and gets back to work like nothing happened. 3 months pass without much excitement. Then, while H and Bullet are on their usual delivery route, they run into trouble again. A motorcycle blocks their path, and before they know it, they're surrounded by armed men. They force Bullet out of the truck, but the second H steps out and shows his face, everything changes. The gunmen seem to recognize him, and just like that, they retreat without taking a single dollar. Back at HQ, Terry can't wrap his head around it. He's baffled that a gang of armed men ran away just by looking at H, but Blake Halls, the boss, shuts him down and jokes that at this rate, H is going to have his own franchise if he keeps doing whatever he's doing. Bullet, however, isn't as relaxed. He talks to Boy Sweat Dave and tells him there's something off about H, calling him,
"He's a dark fucking spirit."
Later that night, we find out why Bullet's suspicious. H sneaks into the apartment of Dana, one of the guards, and discovers a stack of cash hidden in her place. He confronts her, scaring her by firing a few shots. Under pressure, she admits she skimmed some money from a job a while back. H isn't done, though. He shows her photos of her parents and warns her that if she's lying, there will be serious consequences. We rewind 5 months to when H was spending time with his son, Dougie, who was on holiday in the States. Life was good until H gets a call from Mike, his old criminal boss. Mike, the leader of the gang that had previously run from H, asks for his help with one last heist, though he promises H won't have to get his hands dirty. H drives with Dougie near the docks where the robbery is supposed to happen. He's just picking up some food for himself and his son when the cement truck crew shows up to execute the heist. Things quickly go south when one of the robbers orders Dougie out of the van.
Out of the fucking car, face down, motherfucker, come on!
H sees what's unfolding and rushes to save his son, but a scarred gunman shoots Dougie right before H's eyes. Poor child. H is shot multiple times and left for dead. After being in a coma for nearly a month, H wakes up to the heartbreaking news that Dougie didn't make it. His ex-wife, Jane, blames him for their son's death, adding to his pain. H later meets with Mike and the rest of the gang, who feel responsible for what happened. They decide to help H track down the people behind the heist. They dig deep into the criminal underworld, interrogating suspects until they finally get a lead from a man who names a group of notorious criminal brothers. H tracks down a building where the brothers are involved in a wide range of criminal activities. Unfortunately, these brothers aren't exactly chatty, so H decides to handle the situation with lethal efficiency, taking them all out. Fast forward to H's new job at Fortaco Security, where he's keeping a keen eye on his fellow guards. He asks his assistant Kirsty to pull up some files, which include background checks and an autopsy report on Dougie's death. Meanwhile, we meet the crew behind the initial heist, a group of disgruntled ex-veterans from Afghanistan who've been left to rot in America. They're led by Jackson and include Carlos, Sam, Tom, Brad, and Jan, the same guy who murdered Dougie and shot H. During a party for Jackson, the crew hatches their plan for another robbery. When they hit the truck, Sam orders Dougie out and onto the floor. Jan, clearly not a fan of subtlety, goes berserk. He shoots the guards and, noticing Dougie saw his face, decides to kill him too before turning his gun on H. After the chaos of their last heist, the crew is gearing up for their grand finale, a heist that promises to net them over $150 million. Their plan? Split the loot between themselves and their inside man, who, plot twist, is Bullet. Weeks before, Jackson and Tom meticulously plan the heist, with Jackson trying to keep Jan's unpredictable behavior in check. Jackson's confidence in Jan's obedience is about as reassuring as a chocolate teapot, but he's optimistic. When the big day arrives, the crew heads to Fortico. Bullet, in a moment of shocking honesty, confesses to H that he's been tipping off the crew about which trucks to hit. With cameras turned off and Bullet leading the way, they head into an abandoned building. Jackson's team, decked out in heavy bulletproof suits, ties up H and proceeds to the truck. The robbery kicks off smoothly until one guard, clearly having a meltdown, hits the emergency button. Chaos ensues faster than you can say FUBAR. Bullets fly, the door to the cash stash blows open, and the crew starts their grisly work. They shoot their way through the place, turning it into a war zone. With one of their own injured and the emergency button finally turned off, they open the gates for their pickup truck and begin loading the cash. The heist is a bloody mess, but hey, at least they're getting paid. The cops have managed to block the entrance, and as Dave speeds toward them, H takes advantage of the chaos. He snatches a gun from one of the assailants and shoots him in the leg. Then, channeling his inner Mike Tyson, he puts the guy in a chokehold until he stops moving. Thinking on his feet, H grabs some bulletproof gear and walks up to one of the men loading cash into the truck. He makes the guy remove his helmet. When he confirms this isn't his son's killer, he pulls the trigger. It's not a great day to be a cash loader. The rest of Jackson's crew is pinned down by Dana and another guard, who are holding their own despite the chaos. Bullet, trying to make a dramatic entrance, runs over to Dana for a rescue operation. But, in a surprising plot twist, he gets handed a gun and uses it to execute both Dana and the other guard. Guess he's not into sharing. Meanwhile, Dave, struggling to get back on his feet, takes a bullet and goes down. As Terry is forced to come out of hiding, H appears for an intense one-on-one showdown. Despite getting a few injuries himself, H manages to take down his opponent and secure the area. It's a bloody mess, but H's perseverance is as relentless as ever. Jackson's crew grabs their injured comrade and heads toward their getaway vehicle. H starts firing his automatic weapon, turning the place into a shooting gallery. Meanwhile, Dave, who's been down but not out, gets back on his feet and finishes off the injured man with a few precise shots. Just as H hears a click behind him, Bullet, ever the surprise party guest, shoots him and leaves him for dead. Bullet, thinking he's done the job, reloads and calls Dave to let him know the shooters are gone. But as Dave peeks out, he gets a full clip right in the chest. Classic Bullet move. As the robbers make their escape, H catches a glimpse of Jan, recognizing him as Dougie's killer. They lock eyes in a tense stare-down. The armored truck plows through two police cars as they bust through the gate, and suddenly, they're in a high-speed chase with SWAT, police cars, and helicopters hot on their tail. After taking a few hits, the crew rushes into a building and locks the entrance behind them. With only 5 minutes to escape, they head for an underground tunnel, a secret route that's not on any public map. Jackson, sporting a fresh neck wound thanks to H's sharpshooting skills, is clearly not having the best day. When it's time to ditch the truck, Jan decides to finish Jackson off. No time for soft goodbyes here. He and Bullet then load the cash onto quad bikes and race 3 miles to their car. But wait, Bullet's trust issues are about to come true. Realizing Jan's been playing him, Bullet tries to take him out, but Jan's quicker on the draw and blows Bullet's brains out. With Bullet out of the picture, Jan takes off with all the loot. Thanks to a labyrinth of tunnels, the police can't possibly cover them all in time, and Jan makes his getaway without a hitch. A while later, Jan lounges in his apartment, surrounded by stacks of cash. He hears a phone ringing from inside one of the bags and answers it, only to find H standing right behind him, tossing Dougie's autopsy report at him. Jan, bewildered, starts reading the report, which details that Dougie was shot in the liver, lungs, spleen, and heart. The grim details trigger memories of H glaring at him while lying on the floor. H calmly shoots Jan in the liver, then the lungs, each shot echoing the grim report. Jan's face twists in panic as he remembers Dougie's lifeless gaze. H finishes the job with shots to the spleen and heart. With Jan dead, H leaves the apartment and is greeted by Agent King. King confirms that the job is complete and assures H that the stolen money will be recovered. H then hops into a car with an accomplice and drives off into the sunset. Well, that's the end of this recap. Hope you liked this film. Subscribe for more action thriller movies and see you in the next video.